OMG, I like music. I am such a feeler. Typology is a lot like drinking. Bear with me. When you first discover it in college, you're super jazzed about it. It's almost liberating in a way. Like you finally have this opportunity to explore yourself away from the safe harbor of your childhood home. And you don't really need it to be too complex, right? You know, Svedka will do. PBR will do. INTJ, it'll do. But that's also a teat that you can only milk for so long. Eventually you start craving something more, your palate transforms and you want something with a little more pizzazz, a little more nuance. You want something with a little more substance to abuse. Enter the hoppy milk stout of the cognitive functions. Understanding the cognitive functions will straight up blow apart your mind hole, and you will need a doctor. So as far as I can tell, most people who discover typology, they never care to explore the cognitive functions, right? They receive a 4-letter code, they get a cute character to go with that code, such as the mastermind or the inventor or the cobbler, and that's a level that they stop at. So in this layman's version of typology, all you've got are these really simple dichotomies. You're either introverted or extroverted, intuitive or sensing, thinking or feeling, judging or perceiving, Batman or the Joker. This ends up alienating folks who recognize that maybe they're actually relatively balanced in certain areas like thinking or feeling. I mean, after all, how many people want to stand up proudly and say, I am not a thinker? It's the cognitive functions that answer this conundrum. I'm a poet and I had no clue. Instead of 4 simple letters, what you get is this multi-layered functional sandwich called the double down. Sorry, called the function stack. The main takeaway is that everybody does everything, just in different contexts and with different levels of proficiency, right? So, yes, you can be a thinker in the streets and a feeler in the sheets. Not that I would know anything about that. So essentially, instead of preferring some straightforward function like feeling, you're actually going to have a preference for either introverted feeling or extroverted feeling, the former of which pertains to these subjective appraisals of good or bad, whereas the latter sort of concerns itself with the full picture of how others are evaluating things. These things obviously work in binaries, right? So thinking and feeling make up one binary, and the other binary is sensing and intuition. Here's the function stack of a standard Myers-Briggs INFJ. Now, according to some theorists, we also have access to shadow functions, which is an area that I think is well worth exploring, but just not right now. All in due time. We don't want to complexify things too much. You can also ignore the fact that you don't see any introverted judging or extroverted judging or any kind of perception function. That's a whole can of worms based on definitions and word games, and that stuff can come later. What's important is that you're broadening your understanding of what type can actually be. As far as I'm concerned, the greatest thing that typology can do for us is give us clarity about who we are in the world. The cognitive functions in particular can illuminate the full anatomy of our psyche, right down to the shadowy nether parts that you sometimes neglect in the shower. Gross. This cognitive function model gives you a deeper understanding of all of these animalistic forces at play in your psyche that are duking it out. And understanding that can help you navigate the world. The model also fosters a deeper understanding of other people and their psychological wiring. Knowledge is number one. In the words of a good friend of mine, who I hope that I can introduce to you soon, it's all about scholarship.
Scholarship.
Remember, this isn't rocket science. If it were, Elon Musk would be innovating in the field of typology. These models are only maps of the world, and maps are only worthwhile insofar as they help us get to where we're going. The North Star that we're looking for, as far as I can tell, is personal betterment. So our maps are subject to revision as we kind of explore this territory. And with that, I'd like to thank you for taking your time to stumble about in the dark with me. Be careful not to trip and fall onto that subscribe button. Until next time.
OMG, I must be a feeler. That is why I love melody. Do, re, mi. The sound is so healing. You thinking ass robots got nothing on me.